Hey Duck fans, Kurt here. Well, we are 2 weeks into the young season and it's already been quite an experience for all the Oregon Ducks teams. So let's get into what took place this past week. Oregon soccer started off well in the season, but it was a bit of a rough week, albeit against some quality opponents. The Ducks squad lost to Pacific 1-0 in Stockton on Friday and followed that up with a 1-1 draw in double overtime versus St. Mary's. Road trip's now over. The Ducks are returning home with their next 3 matches all at Pape Field, hosting Seattle on Friday and Gonzaga this upcoming Sunday. It's also cross-country season. The first run was dominated by the Ducks back on September 1st. The next meet isn't until September 29th. That's the Bill Dellinger Invitational held at the Springfield Golf Course. That's technically the only home meet for all of cross-country season. But while all focus has been on football thus far, the Oregon program that has really stood out thus far is volleyball. Oregon volleyball has been nearly flawless, undefeated on the season, ranked number 13 after defeating 2 ranked opponents already. In fact, Oregon's volleyball crew have been so dominant. In sets, they are 21-3 on the year. The next match is Monday evening, September 10th, versus St. Mary's at Matthew Knight Arena. So go out, show your support. Oregon volleyball has been terrific. They need our support. Go support our Ducks Monday night at the mat. And volleyball actually ties into football talk, as the Brenner family is quickly establishing themselves as an Oregon legacy. Liz Brenner is a 3-sport athlete at the University of Oregon: basketball, softball, and volleyball. And now her younger brother, Doug Brenner, becomes the 9th commit in the 2013 Oregon recruiting class. He's the 3rd offensive lineman in the class thus far, and it's a nice rebound for Oregon after only getting 1 lineman all of last year, JC transfer Kyle Long. The Brenner family's from the Jesuit area, so keeping the local talent at home, that's always great to see, and great to see more great football players wanting to be Ducks. So let's get into football. You know, the Ducks won on Saturday 42-25, and maybe I'm just old, I don't know, because I remember the days when Oregon winning the game was enough. Apparently not anymore. Oregon has to win every game by 30+ points, and they have to do it with style and flawless execution, or else it's not good enough. I was kind of shocked that after the game, the general mood from fans that I saw was both pessimism and frustration over the team only winning 42-25. Of course, it was a far from flawless performance. There's a lot to improve on and areas in which to get better, but people seem to forget Oregon won the game. Kenyon Barner had career highs in carries and rushing yards. Both him and D'Anthony Thomas went over 100 yards each in the first half. Freshman quarterback Marcus Mariota, in his second start, he looked more like what a freshman quarterback making their second career start should look like. If people were expecting him to maintain his pace from opening day, that's really unrealistic. He was at times inconsistent, and at times made the wrong reads, and at times he showed the flash that earned him the starting job. Mariota already, you can tell, is going to be very good, but we need to give him a little slack, a little time to go through some of these growing pains for him to really refine his talents. The defense looked pretty solid overall, I thought, particularly on 3rd down. I believe Fresno went 2 of 16 on 3rd down in the game. And in the red zone, the defense looked fantastic. I thought overall they played great. Fresno State looks to be on the rebound right now after a couple down years at the tail end of the Pat Hill era. Tim DeRuyter, he has that team returning to the swagger that they once had that defined Fresno State under Pat Hill for so many years, that they weren't intimidated by anybody. Sure, they gave up some big plays, particularly to D'Anthony Thomas, but, I mean, come on, who doesn't? But otherwise, you know, hats off to Fresno State. They really played well. They made the game into a difficult fight. There weren't a lot of really big plays given up outside of the occasional ones. They really made Oregon fight for every inch. A good sign with the Duck team is how well the receivers and tight ends are playing thus far, in addition to Barner and Thomas. Colt Liedtke continues to look like an absolute beast, and the receivers are presenting good targets for Mariota and doing a terrific job blocking on the side. Just take a look at the block that Josh Huff had on D'Anthony Thomas's first touchdown run on the option play. Unbelievable. Not doing so well with blocking this past weekend was the offensive line. There was a rash of injuries that meant backups were playing significant time, and that really showed, as this turned into much more of a grinded out game with the line not showing their general dominance and getting beat or missing blocks, which led directly to some turnovers. Hroniss Grasu in particular, I thought, was really off with his shotgun snaps, which can disrupt the play and offensive rhythm more than anything else. So if the snap isn't on target, it can really mess things up. That was the case. I'm sure Grasu will rebound and have better days to come. He had a fantastic freshman year. I'm totally confident that he can maintain that and improve on it going into his sophomore campaign and beyond. So despite the pessimism over inconsistent offensive play in the second half for the second week in a row, the storyline that people should really be focusing on right now is injuries. Injuries are, of course, an unfortunate part of such an aggressive game, but in 2 games, Oregon has just been devastated. It's starting to look like shades of 2007, a really great offensive team that unfortunately just got decimated by injuries and limped through the tail end of the year. I certainly hope that isn't the case, but this has all the signs of being one of those years where just one guy after another falls. Week 1, there was a bad knee injury to Jared Ebert, or at least it looked bad. And Tyler Johnstone was seen in a walking boot after the first quarter. Last Saturday, it unfortunately continued. Josh Huff got a knee injury that looked worse, hopefully, than it actually was. Carson York re-injured his surgically repaired knee from the Rose Bowl. Tyler Johnstone again got hurt. Ryan Clanton is hurt. And late Sunday night, the bad news that had been rumored was confirmed that John Boyette indeed is going to have season-ending surgery on both of his knees. The one thing that is certain is that we're seeing a lot of second-string and third-string guys playing games, and it's not because Oregon's blowing out. It's out of necessity. The important thing to remember in all of this is that whether Oregon wins 42-25 or 42-0, Oregon still gets the W. That's what seems to be lost right now. Oregon is 2-0 on the year. You can't be mad about that. Up next is Tennessee Tech at Autzen next Saturday, and be sure to wear green for this game. The game will again be shown on the Pac-12 network, and there was good news for fans late Friday night that Dish Network did come to an agreement with the Pac-12 to air the Pac-12 network. That really just leaves DirecTV as the lone holdout. There are a few other cable providers, but DirecTV is the big one that's still standing firm. Hopefully, a deal will be in place by the end of September. We'll see. As for FishDuck.com, we did an extensive post-game summary on Sunday that's worth your time, compiling our best photos from the day, along with a great written breakdown by Nathan Roholt, and some videos, both from the game and post-game interviews. Our photographer, Kevin Klein, made an awesome time-lapse video from the game that's definitely worth checking out. That's also posted in the summary, so check out our FishDuck game reviews from this past Sunday. Charles last Tuesday created a video looking at the I Spy 3 defensive alignment. You can find that on the front page or by clicking right here. And I interviewed Tom Ward from KVAL TV this past Thursday. He should be a very familiar face to Duck fans, having covered the Ducks for years, as well as being the anchor on the terrific program Inside the Pack. Click here to watch that. And all season long, Josh Schlichter is going to be creating opponent analysis videos, giving us all some insight into the week's opposition. This week, he, of course, came out with a video about Fresno State the day before the game on Friday. So take a look at Josh Schlichter breaking down the Fresno State Bulldogs. Click right here. And our staff photographer, Kevin Klein, has been taking some amazing photos at each game, all of which are available on the FishDuck Flickr page or in our forum in the appropriately titled Game Day Photo Threads, or go to our photo section on the site and click on the 2000 to present day link to access all of Kevin's fine work. Our writers continue to pump out great material that's worth your time. Check the directory on the site or sign up for our newsletter, or simply scroll down the front page of FishDuck.com to check out all of our articles from this past week. We had uniform analysis, pre- and post-game coverage, our weekly humor column, considering Oregon's all-time best offensive players, a recruiting update, and more. So please, check out all we're providing on FishDuck.com. And now, my random tweet of the week.
Hey, will you shut up?
Thank you.
Music recommendation time. You know, all football season, we're talking good music for tailgate parties. And I want to introduce you to a band that sadly is no longer around. Each member was simply too talented for the group to stick together and not go off and do their own thing. But thankfully, their music survives. Vast Capital.
I heard you're leaving flying far away on a plane.
Vast Capital was a Seattle band, originally called A Bird of Passage. They put out 2 albums under the name A Bird of Passage before becoming Vast Capital. Their sound was refreshing, filled with exquisite musicianship and happy melodies and amazing vocal harmonies, creating a sound that was maybe a little reminiscent of, say, G Love and Special Sauce blended with Crosby, Stills and Nash. Happy, carefree, pleasant, good music for a lazy summer afternoon. They also did an unbelievably awesome cover of the Beastie Boys' Paul Revere, which is up on YouTube. I highly suggest checking it out. Eventually the band did split. Levi Ware embarked on a solo career that's resulted in 2 albums by Levi, and he's done well for himself, opening for Train, among others. Drummer Stephen Barcy joined the popular jam band Slapback and has toured the country, and singer Ethan Anderson formed a new band, Massey Ferguson, an excellent roots Americana rock group similar to the Hold Steady or Sebadoh or Whiskey Town. They're a great bar band, blues rock with a touch of country, just awesome stuff. They've played South by Southwest and other festivals, and they tour often. They're one of the more popular groups on the Seattle scene today. But for me, I miss Vast Capital. When all of them were together making great harmonies, it was just fantastic. Fortunately, their music still exists, and it is readily available online. Both the 2 A Bird of Passage albums and the Vast Capital self-titled record. So check out Vast Capital. It's good grooves for an easygoing tailgate party before ramping things up for game day.
It's just the end to another day. It's just the end to another day. The feeling I feel, feeling in the same has got to come. Oh, be a
So that does it for me this week. Thank you, of course, as always, for watching. Thanks for checking out FishDuck.com, and keep coming back for more great content. Until next time, this is Kurt saying go fish, get hooked, go Ducks.